It is Teddy Atlas. We're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Keep watching. Otherwise,
Hey guys, this is Shamsad with the Great Dave from MotoFighters.com, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, guys, I think it's time to give old Bobby a nickname, and that is Mr. Only in America, Bob Arum. Just browsing through the boxing news, I come across this article today, and the headline reads, Mikey Garcia sues Top Rank in California court. This is an interesting development, guys. Seriously, once again, the truth comes out. Guys, you guys don't realize how much this story tells us about Top Rank, about Bob Arum, about the whole Mayweather-Pacquiao situation, about the Gamboa versus Mikey Garcia situation. This article, in some ways, it gives us a little insight into all of those other stories, actually. Let me go ahead and read a little bit of the report that was posted on BoxingScene.com. The lawsuit alleges that Garcia's contract improperly provides Top Rank the ability to extend the agreement indefinitely, essentially rendering the contracting fighter an indentured servant of Top Rank. The filing claims that the contract violates California law. It also claims that the promoter has also violated the United States Muhammad Ali Act for multiple reasons, including by failing to make required disclosures to Garcia concerning, among other things, the amount of money it would make from each of Garcia's bouts. End quote. Wow. So in English, the lawsuit basically suggests that Bob Arum, he basically put stipulations in the contract that allowed him to extend a contract with Mikey Garcia without getting the consent from Mikey Garcia, which violates the Muhammad Ali Act, among other things that violate the Muhammad Ali Act, like not disclosing exactly how much money that Mikey Garcia is going to make for each fight when he's under Bob Arum's contract. Once again, guys, if you stick around long enough, the truth will always break free. The truth will always come out eventually. And this is not a good look for Only in America Bobby. I mean, we seen a very similar case to this happen when Floyd Mayweather was with Top Rank, when he broke out of his contract because Floyd Mayweather claimed that Bob Arum was not disclosing how much money he was supposed to be getting paid for fighting against Zab Judah and other fighters. Okay? Now we're seeing it again. I mean, we seen Bob Arum extend Tim Bradley's contract and basically tell Tim Bradley the only way you're going to get this rematch with Manny Pacquiao is if you extend the contract. And, you know, there's been talks. I haven't seen the article, but friends have told me that recently Bob Arum, he did the same thing with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He basically told Chavez, if you want this fight with Gennady Golovkin, then you're going to have to extend your contract. So, you know, there's a lot of fishy stuff going on with Top Rank and Bob Arum. Once again, man, this explains why we never got to see a Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight. It was largely because Bob Arum, he was trying to keep all of the money to himself. I truly believe, just like Bob Arum actually predicted that Rigo was going to possibly beat Donaire. He predicted that like a year before the fight took place. So you can only imagine if Bob felt that Rigo would beat Donaire, then there's a very good chance. Matter of fact, not a chance. I know that Bob Arum always believed that Mayweather would beat Manny Pacquiao. Very decisive. So this is the reason why the fight, it never took place, because Bob was trying his best to get as much milk out of that cow, Manny Pacquiao, as he could before he sacrificed him to losing to Floyd Mayweather. Okay, but nevertheless, Freddie Roach, he did admit in the roundtable conference that he did, which I'm gonna go ahead and upload that video later on. He admitted that the reason why the first fight didn't take place, it was because of Manny Pacquiao. He blamed his own fighter. He was being honest. He was speaking the truth. He said, yeah, we're to blame why that first fight between Mayweather and Pacquiao didn't take place. And then later on, he would say Bob Arum has something to do with why the other fights didn't take place. So, you know, the truth always comes out eventually. But getting back to Mikey Garcia suing Bob Arum, you can't help but wonder, when you look at the timing of all of this happening, you have to ask yourself, does this have anything to do with the Gamboa fight? I mean, think about it for a second. Let's just look at the situation. Gamboa and 50 Cent, they have aggressively been calling out Mikey Garcia. I mean, it's to the point where this is the true definition of ducking a fighter. Okay, let's just put it out there. Mikey Garcia and his trainer, Robert Garcia, they never wanted this Gamboa fight. You could go back and you could just watch interviews of Robert Garcia talking. I mean, there's videos out there where Robert Garcia and Mikey Garcia are sitting there saying, nobody wants to watch that Gamboa fight. Who is he? Who has he fought? Etc., right? But then they'll turn around and try to fight some no-name fighter, and HBO rejects that opponent. Why is HBO rejecting their opponents? You know why? Because HBO, they want the Gamboa fight. HBO has desperately wanted this Gamboa fight. And Mikey Garcia and Robert Garcia, they have done everything that they could do to sabotage this fight from even taking place. I mean, you go back about a month ago, I remember there was an article where Bob Arum, he said that, we're in heavy negotiations or strong negotiations with Gamboa for a Garcia versus Gamboa fight. Okay? Then you fast forward a month later, all of a sudden, Bob Arum is saying, that fight was dead in the water. It was never going to happen, etc., etc. I'm suspecting that Bob Arum truly, he wanted this fight. This is just my assumption. I'm assuming that Bob Arum, he wanted to make this fight. He knew how big this fight was, but it was Team Garcia that did not want this fight at all. Okay? I mean, Garcia, he's been campaigning so hard. I'm sorry. Gamboa, he's been campaigning so hard to get this fight with Mikey Garcia. He's been contacting Garcia on Twitter. They've been going back and forth having conversations. Yoriokas Gamboa, he even asked Mikey Garcia, let's meet, let's go out to dinner and so the media can see it, and that'll help promote the fight, etc., etc. Let's negotiate, let's talk about this and that. And Mikey Garcia, he wouldn't really respond. He wouldn't respond back to what Gamboa was saying. Then Gamboa, he said something like, why don't you come to my gym and we'll spar? Gamboa said, I don't want to spar with you. I want to get your ass in the ring. I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he basically said. That's how he responded. And once again, I go back to the Jack Johnson story. There's always something that happens today that reminds me of that story. Because when Jack Johnson was following the heavyweight champion, I believe it was Jim Jeffries, all around trying to get a fight with him, this is exactly what Jim Jeffries said. He was ducking the shit out of Jack Johnson. He had already told Jack Johnson, I'm not going to give a black person a chance to fight for the heavyweight title. That was his excuse to duck Jack Johnson, right? So what Jim Jeffries ended up telling Jack Johnson, he said, I tell you what, let's go underground in the basement and nobody will be there, just me and you. No media, no anyone. And we'll have a one-on-one fight. And Jack Johnson's response was simply, I ain't no basement cellar fighter. I want to get your ass in the ring so the whole world can see it. Let's make it official. So this is the exact same type of conversation that Gamboa and Mikey Garcia had, right? And what makes it even funnier, and this is by very close sources in the Gamboa camp, they said that they even just took up Garcia on that challenge just to see if he was serious. So when Garcia said, he gave out an address, he said, come to my gym. They looked up the address, Team Gamboa, and they found out that Mikey Garcia gave them a fake address. It wasn't even the real address to the gym. Okay? So the bottom line is, you gotta wonder, does this have anything to do with the fact that Mikey Garcia does not want to fight Gamboa? The fact that he's suing Bob Arum at this perfect time. Once again, let me go back to the situation where Garcia, they didn't want to fight Gamboa, so they tried to fight a lesser opponent. HBO rejected that opponent that Team Garcia chose. So it's a lot of pressure on Garcia right now. You know, it's interesting because it reminds me of the Canelo versus Lara situation. There was a lot of pressure on Canelo Alvarez to get in the ring and fight against Lara. There was a lot of pressure not only from Canelo's detractors, but there was also a lot of pressure from even his fans straight from Mexico. Even they were saying, "Why? You know, how come you're not fighting Lara? You need to fight Lara, et cetera, et cetera." And that's the reason why the fight got made, truth be told. Okay? But in a situation with Garcia, there's a lot of pressure on him to fight Gamboa, but he's not allowing the fans in the boxing world to persuade him into getting in that ring and taking a chance of possibly losing to Yuriorkis Gamboa. Now, once again, this is pure speculation, but I believe that Bob Arum and HBO, they have been pressuring Team Garcia to take the Gamboa fight. And Garcia, he does not want the fight. And he doesn't want the fight to the point to where he's willing to break out of this contract so that he could relieve pressure of having to fight the Cuban. Now, don't get me wrong. Mikey Garcia is a very good fighter. He has a great jab, speed, power, great 1-2. But at the same time, I'm telling you right now, he's in a Wama Lopez situation right now. When Wama was undefeated, and all of a sudden, he started fighting tough guys, and he started to look more and more mortal. We all know Wama Lopez, he avoided Gamboa as well. And the more he fought, the more he started to get exposed. And I believe this is going to possibly happen with Mikey Garcia, especially with HBO telling Mikey and Team Garcia, look, you guys are not going to duck tough competition and just, fight some, bum or another Burgos type of opponent every 3 or 6 months on our network. No, that's not going to happen. If you want to fight on HBO, you're going to have to fight someone who brings a challenge, okay? And with that kind of pressure, it's going to be an uphill battle for Team Garcia in the future. So, we'll see what happens. I'll keep following this story, this lawsuit, and that's what it is, guys. I'm on to the next one.